How you going? You're live.
Okay. You know, I'm sitting there every evening smoking a cigar and having a beer. And if you'd ask me why, I'd say, well, it's kind of who I really am. Clear back when I was at El Toro, we were having carrier cruises, and we'd go out there for 3 or 4 months, flying off the carrier, landing in all kind of weather, you know, with pitching deck and black and lightning and what have you. And then at the end of the cruise, we'd go back to the air station, and we'd invade the O Club. And there'd be about 20 of us young bucks, about in the 25 to 27 year range, you know, just the peak of our career, kind of. And we were hot stuff. And we'd go take over the bar, and we'd all sit back, stand there, smoke cigars and drink beer, and just be the biggest hot shots you ever see.
Well, you had to be at that to be who you were at that time.
Yeah, it was.
It'd be the best of the best.
Yeah. So, but they were all fantastic guys to fly with, and we'd come back, and the captain of the ship would come in and join us at the O Club for a drink, and his landing signal officer, he's the guy that waves you in, you know. It was back before it was all electronic, and he'd be out there with a lighted suit on and waving you in day and night, you know, and bringing you around to land on that carrier.
Can you imagine?
No.
As you'd come into the carrier on those pitching decks, that thing would be going like this, you know, in bad weather, and you'd be coming and look like you're flying right into the deck, and it'd go down. You'd So anyhow, the skippership came in and congratulated us on a fantastic tour. It's a great professionalism and everything, and how many Roger passes we made. Roger passes where the LSO doesn't have to give you any correction. You just fly it all by yourself, and you're on track, you're on glide slope, you're on speed, everything else, and you just fly it right on down. You never have to have a signal. So he said the amount of Roger passes you guys have made in the last 3 months just absolutely outstanding. So, and as I said, we were 10 feet tall, smoking our cigars and drinking our beer. Those are fantastic memories of it. But it makes me think about all the guys I flew with, and once again, very few of them are alive today. In fact, I can't name one of that whole group.
Except you.
Helmet out, when you get too it's old, you don't have your present. Okay, so after I went to helicopter training and went to Vietnam for the first tour in 1963.
Yeah, you said you were the adjutant
I was the adjutant for the air group, Marine Air
for
Group.
all of Vietnam
For the squadron, yeah, for the Marine squadrons in
Marine
Vietnam.
squadrons. Okay.
And my colonel was an old artillery guy, so him and I had a lot to talk about. He was battery commander for the same house that I was working on.
So you could talk shop a little bit with
So
him?
I could talk shop with him there, and him and I became good friends. It was unusual for a captain, and I was a captain at the time. And he was a full colonel, and we just made good friends. And then he just let me kind of run things because he wasn't that much into the aviation side. He was more into wanting to know what was going on out in the field, and he would take off for a month at a time sometimes. And these squadrons would come in, and I'd meet and brief them and act like I was a group commander, so to speak. But it was a good time. And I told you I got shot down to one time there. Then the rest of it was, they were shooting at us every day, but just very little damage for the most part. It was, I'd say about one side of four hops you'd get hit with very much. So that was fairly easy the first time, and I flew probably, let me think, 60 missions or something like that in the whole.
What was the time span? Was that 9 months?
I was there for about, let's see, July to February, about 7 months. Yeah. So that was a fairly easy tour for those combat tours go. But then when I got assigned back to Atsugi, Japan, I was awarded the Bronze Star Medal for my service in Vietnam in that first tour. That was one of my first decorations. And I was still the adjutant for that whole air group then, out of Japan. So that was a very responsible position, and I really enjoyed that. I was king shit on stage. So let me think then. From I came back to the States and was flying the H-34s, and we went to Desert Rock for the atomic test. Desert Rock is just north of Las Vegas, about 100 miles, out in the middle of the desert. And we set off, probably 30 or 40 atomic weapons there. And what our job was is to, we'd be on the ground, and we slept on the ground on pallets and stuff the whole time we were there. I was there about 2 months for those tests. And then after they'd shoot the test off, we'd be sitting there with our eyes covered and everything else. And they'd shoot the test off, and we'd go out and fly around with a Geiger counter and measure the radiation. So we never knew what we were flying into. And you're supposed to be very careful about how much you got, but if the Geiger counter got full, we just get a new one.
Get a new badge. And
Turn that one in. yeah. So.
When you're bulletproof, you can do that and get away with
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. Then the following year, I went to Bikini Island on a 9-month cruise aboard the USS Princeton, an aircraft carrier. And we set off a whole raft of atomic weapons there. I had the same job, but there were a lot better circumstances, because there we lived on the island with on Bikini Island with all the scientists that were designing and building the weapons and everything. So they were all very highly paid individuals, they were cream of the crop scientists, so they treated them and gave them everything. The mess hall was open 24 hours a day. Anything you wanted, steak, lobster, you name it, they had it for us. And and we were living in bunks and sleeping like normal people.
You were sleeping on the pallets,
Yeah.
like Desert Rock, huh?
Yeah, so I was there for 9 months, and then when I came back, was back about a month when they sent me to North Carolina. And we deployed to the Caribbean for 9 months. And if you're in the Marine Corps, if you're over 9 months, it's considered an overseas tour. And then you get 3 years before you have to go back. So before the 9 months would come up, they'd bring us back.
Mm-hmm.
Then they didn't have to worry about our return date, so they could send us overseas again anytime. So then I went from that 9-month tour to another 9-month tour in the Caribbean, flying off of the USS Princeton. And we were there, probably 7 months. And we pulled into San Juan, Puerto Rico, and we were going to be there for 10 days. So I called PJ and said, load up your stuff and come to Puerto Rico, spend some time here. So she did, and the way Mike tells it is he came home from school, and the neighbor was there and said, well, Mike, your mom's in Puerto Rico, so it's going to be you and I for the next 5 days or so. You know, first he knew about it.
That's how he found out?
Yeah, so anyhow.
According to his memory, yeah.
Yeah, so, and that's pretty much the way it was. So, I'll turn that off for a little bit.
Okay, we'll take a break.
I regroup my memory. Because when I get to my second tour, I'm going to have a lot of stories for you.
And we'll see how much